This is going to be a video on what kind of oil to use in your little fuel injected or oil injected Hondas, which both of these are, or if you want to run two-stroke oil. Now we generally use I use GN2 Pro Honda injector premix oil for my little gyro, and we have a little half-gallon deal right behind the seat. Or over on the Honda here, little deal. I have one right under the seat. Now, a gentleman asked me to make a video, and it's colder than shit in here. It is like, that's in Fahrenheit, and let me see. That's in Celsius, and I have no idea what that means. But what I use the two-stroke injector oil in the Honda, and I used to use it instead of the Honda. But I don't use it anymore. Now, if you're going to break your motor in, you want to use a two-stroke oil that is premix, that is totally natural oil, because you want to break in your rings and everything naturally, because if you use synthetic oil, it is just too slick and it will not allow the rings to seat in the cylinder bore, which has been done out. Now, after you run the first 100 miles on a natural oil, which is Bel-Ray makes great oil, then what you want to do is switch to a race oil if you have a little race machine. I use Silcoline because it's very good. I can mix less of it than on the regular two-stroke, and I still get the same performance. That means I have more fuel in the combustion chamber for a bigger bang. Now what I use is what's called a ratio right. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. This is a ratio right, and it comes in gallons, ounces. On the other side are pints, cc's, and fluid ounces. But on the ratio right, it will show you if you're going to mix, like on the very top here, 2 gallons, 1 gallon, 1.5 gallons of, and if you want to go 50 to 1, then you just follow down the chart and you pour the oil in that will correspond to how many gallons you're going to mix. And a ratio right it's been around since the early 70s. So for $5 or $6, it's very good for checking your oil ratios. Now what I'll do when I'm breaking in a motor, especially any of my new motors, I'll run probably 40 to 1. That means a gallon is 128 ounces. I will run maybe 3 ounces of oil in it. Okay? Now, there's a problem with running that much oil. And that is it smokes a lot out the pipe right here. And you're actually leaning out the mixture because the fuel that's supposed to be in the combustion chamber is taken up by the thicker oil. So then what I do is after I get the 40 to 1 in regular oil for 100 miles, I'll switch to Silcoline, which is half regular oil, half synthetic, which means it doesn't break down under heat. And you can use Silcoline, you can use whatever newfangled ones, what they have now, it doesn't really matter. I use Silcoline because it's where I can buy it. And what I'll do is I will go 50 to 1 per gallon. Now 50 to 1, if we look at the ratio right here, we'll go up to the top here and we'll see 1 gallon, which is right here. Now we go down and they have 20 to 1, 24, 28, and at the very bottom it has 50 to 1. And so that tells you how much per gallon. Now if you go 1.5 gallons up here, you look down the guide and it will tell you 50 to 1, and it's a little bit higher. And then 2 gallons, it's a little bit higher than that. It'll tell you 50 to 1 right there. And the trick is, what you want to get is the optimum amount of oil that will lubricate your cylinder and not seize it, but yet give you the most amount of fuel to have the bigger the bang. And what I've found, there's 2 ways to check that on a racing bike. One is when you start your bike up and you're revving it, all right, put a paper towel right down underneath your pipe right here. Okay, and rev your bike. If you've got splatters of black oil, little teeny ones, hitting here from your pipe, it's too rich. That means you've got too much oil and you're leaning out the mixture, which means your cylinder will run hotter because it's not running enough fuel and you have too much oil. So that's the first thing. The second thing is run your bike and pull your plug. Now the plugs we have are right up here. Let's see. Well, these are all gears, racing gear. Wait, they're up here. These are your plugs. Now, your plug will tell you a ton of things about your engine. If it's all black, all right, that means you're running too much oil. If it's all white or off-white, it's running too lean. It's getting too hot. What you want is a nice mocha brown, just like a Siamese cat. And when you find that right mix for yourself, your bike will run very good, but you're going to have to test it. But it's always better to err on the side of caution and run a little bit higher ratio or lower ratio, higher ratio oil to fuel than a lower ratio and have it seize, because it'll get too hot and seize. That's why the 2 strokes, that's how they work like that. Premix is a good oil for all little Hondas. I used some premix that was sitting here for 20 years. It's sitting right in the back here. And it was no problem. But I should have probably changed it. And with the new oils. But remember, if you're running an older bike, they were designed for all natural oils. They were not designed for premixed or synthetic. And as you can see, the price of oil has gone up with the price of fuel. This is Bel-Ray's always been a good mainstay for. Well, I can get it. You know, there's all kinds of different ones. In Europe, they probably have a lot more. They don't run 2 strokes in America because they have some kind of law against them. It's total bullshit. I can get a truck that that is 20 feet long and gets about 1 mile to the gallon, but I can't run two-stroke because it puts out too much pollution. Total nonsense. So as the price of oil goes up, the price goes up. Socoline is a great synthetic oil, and Honda GN2 is great for premix, not premix, but injector. And then there is another Honda lube which is pure synthetic, and I haven't used that one too much, but the more synthetic the oil, so you can see I bought these at a different time. That one says $15.95 US, and that one says $16.95. So they just jack the price as they see fit. You know, we have 1 liter right here, and it says $5.95. That was a few years old. This one is 1 liter, and it says like $6.50. So that's my take on oil and how it works in a bike, in my opinion. But everyone is different, and I remember these are not motocross bikes. The motocross bikes' engines are a lot more efficient, a lot bigger reeds. These are just little mopeds, and so it's a totally different animal. So I hope you like that, and if I can help. And here's my .450 Honda-matic. I've got to get it ready for winter, but I'm 50 years old and I'm just too damn lazy. Okay, these are my 3 bikes. 1983 CMA 450 Honda-matic, 120cc moped, built to the water-cooled, built to the tits, and my newest bike, which is my 1985 Gyro, which is basically brand new. So I hope you like my stable of bikes. God bless and have a good Thanksgiving.